Hello guys and welcome back to the next video, which will be about a Zabbix installation with a Docker. So what's the benefit? Previously we talked about how to install a Zabbix with the packages, which is absolutely fine, and most of the Zabbix users are doing that exactly that way. It is possible also to compile a Zabbix from the sources that gives some benefits, but in most cases it's really not required. So packages is absolutely fine. Then what's the benefit from the Docker? Personally, I use it mostly, well, actually only for the testing purposes, because you've noticed we've made a video like 20 minutes long. Okay, if I would be doing that without commenting all the steps, it would probably take like 10 or 15 minutes, but still, it's our precious time. If you want to test something on Zabbix 3.0, it will take 15 minutes, then maybe you played around with it and you want to install a Zabbix 3.4. That will again take additional 15 minutes. After that, you might decide that, no, wait, I still need Zabbix 3.0. Again, complete uninstall, a new fresh installation of 3.0. It takes a lot of time, a lot of typing, and we actually don't need it. So instead, when you're using Zabbix Docker containers, you can switch between the versions just like in a minute or even less. And what's the most cool thing about it? You are able to start Zabbix nightly development builds. So each day, Zabbix developers are developing new functionality, creating some new stuff, and during the night, the new Docker build is created and published online. So today, you can start Zabbix 4.0 beta that with a functionality that was created yesterday, which is super cool, and installation process is like pretty quick. So what do we need for this? First of all, we need to install yum-utils, device mapper persistent data, and LVM2 package, which will be required for our Docker functionality. I will copy and paste these lines in the description so to make your life easier. But for now, let's just copy paste in the CLI. I will add -yes just to confirm everything automatically. It will be pretty quick, so done. I can clean my screen. Then we need to add a Docker repository, which is not by default in the Red Hat installation. And yeah, by the way, this is still the same CentOS 7 minimal install. So copy paste again to add a repo of the Docker. Done. Clean the screen. Then we actually need to install the Docker engine. Docker engine. Yes. Again, takes a minute or two, depends on your network speed. And after this will be completed, so we can actually move on. While this is installing, then the next step for us will be to use, we don't need it, but if you plan to continue to work with a Docker, you might find this useful. So there is a web page which is official Docker hub of all of the containers that are made by the community or official distributors of the software. And here in the search window, you can type Zabbix and you will find all of the containers for the Zabbix that are available, like the Zabbix agent, the server with a MySQL, Zabbix Web with an Nginx as a web engine, the proxy, Java Gateway, absolutely all the components with all the support that officially is available by the Zabbix company. And all of these containers are like semi-official from the Zabbix company. They are created and maintained by Zabbix employee, so I would say that this is official. If you experience any bugs, most likely when you will report them, they will be fixed quite fast. So when we click on one of these, doesn't matter. The most important thing that you will find is a description about what this is, what is Zabbix server, the server images. You are also able to use what operating system you would like to run under your container. So it could be Ubuntu, CentOS, or Alpine. That is pretty lightweight operating system developed, if I'm not wrong, by the Docker company itself. So it's really the lightest one in terms of the disk space and all of the resources required. And then you will find a description how to use the image, the container itself. So Docker run, then specify all of the parameters like database, server host, MySQL user, MySQL password, and based on all of the specified entries, all of the entities will be created accordingly. Then Docker exec, the logs, this absolutely self-explaining. And we won't actually use this approach. We will use approach with a Docker Compose. And Docker Compose is like predefined, pre-configured, all the runtime file, the build file that will just with one line command create for a Zabbix server, the front end, Zabbix agent, proxy with SQLite database, and proxy with MySQL database, and everything will be up and running just in the second. So this is just for you. If you plan to play around with the Docker and do some different things, you will need it. Then we can go back to the CLI. And this is installed. Okay, so now I will just start my Docker engine, systemctl start Docker. Done. Then the last thing that we need to install is git. So yum install git dash yes, accept everything. Done. Cool. Now we need the GitHub repo of the Zabbix containers and the Zabbix Docker Compose files. There's the URL. Again, I will post it in the description. Maintained by the same Zabbix employee. So again, this is semi-official. And here you will find all the Compose files that we will actually use to deploy our Zabbix instance for the testing. And V2 files are for the older Docker Compose. And we will be using V3. This is the latest release. There few things have changed in the Compose file. Nothing has changed in terms of end user experience. Almost forgot, we actually need to install a Docker Compose on our virtual machine. For that, let's just use Google Docker Compose install. There we go. And we are using a Linux machine. And yeah, that's about it. Just copy paste this line. So copy CLI paste. Again, takes a minute. Then we can done. So we can pick up another line just to add and execute permissions to our Docker Compose. And indeed, that's it. Then what do we need? We have a git, so what we need is git clone and the URL of the GitHub repo URL in the description. Paste. Now the git is cloning all that's inside of this repo with all of these files, and each day, like after a week or two, you don't have to worry about that your folder in the Linux machine is outdated. So any day, anytime, you can pull the fresh file, fresh configs from this repo. So done. And right now we should see, and we do see, that we have a new folder called Zabbix Docker. So let's go inside Zabbix-Docker. What do we have here? We have all of our Compose files, and currently we're looking only on the V3. We don't need a V2. It is compatible with an old Docker Compose. And we actually have also all of the Docker files, build scripts, and all of the coding stuff to get us up and running. So how to launch it? Let's say we want to run a latest development release of 4.0 beta version. So we need to type git checkout trunk, which will be a trunk of the Zabbix development. Switch to a new branch trunk, and then all we need to do is let me actually check. Maybe I already have some Zabbix running. ps grep Zabbix, nope. MariaDB, nope. And HTTPD, nope. So just make sure that you don't have any existing local Zabbix database or web engine installations running locally, because otherwise when you will try to deploy a container it will fail, because again the listening port is already used by your local installation. So right now it looks like I don't have anything up and running, and we will just type docker dash compose. You can use a tab for autocomplete, always works fine. Then we need to specify -f and the name of the docker compose file. So it will be docker compose v3, and I'm usually using Alpine operating system, but you can additionally choose for the Centos or Ubuntu if you like it. Then Alpine MySQL database support, so the Zabbix installation will be deployed with a MySQL engine, and a latest YAML. I can type now pull. This will pull inside all required containers and all required stuff for us to get this up and running. You will see the process, like pulling, done, done. Shouldn't take more than a minute, just again. And you don't have to do this all the time. Let's say only if we will just configure all of this stuff, you will test it, you will come back after 1 month and you want to pick a fresh version, then yes, you need to do the pull again. But if you want to work with existing containers that we will pull right now, you don't need to do this step. So you will again save some time, you will just have to start the existing containers. Waiting for the last one. So yeah, also SNMP traps are compiled in, built in, so you can use it from the box. Proxy with a SQLite. Still waiting. Done. So the next step is again docker compose, same Alpine MySQL latest, and now instead of the pull we will type up and -d to detach. So all of these containers, the Zabbix server, web engine, agent, proxy will be running in the background, and our CLI will remain just as it is right now, so we will be able to do some other things inside this server. And creating the network drivers, applying all of the settings, deploying containers, done. That's it. We have Zabbix up and running right now. And again, we can check my IP. See, we have a lot of interfaces that are created for the Docker, and I am actually looking for my actual IP of this virtual machine. Paste it inside your browser. No need to add /Zabbix, just IP, and we have already a Zabbix frontend. Admin and Zabbix, just default credentials as after a clean installation, and there we go. We actually have Zabbix 4.0 beta 2 right now, the latest development build with all of the functionality inside. And we also have a Zabbix server host, which is disabled as usual. And if we want to get some data from our container, this time it will be a little bit different because it's not anymore localhost IP. So we need to find out to which IP Zabbix server container should connect. And to do that, we will again need a CLI. Probably already know such thing as PS on the Linux machines, so there is a pretty similar thing in the Docker, and to use it just type docker ps, and I usually use -a for all. So we can see all of the things running right now, and this is a container ID which we will be using. So we need to know IP address of a Zabbix agent. Where is Zabbix agent? Zabbix agent Alpine trunk. Just copy the container ID and type docker inspect and container ID. You will get a lot of information, and we're looking for IP address. This is IP address on which our Zabbix agent inside container is running. So let's go back to the front end, click on the Zabbix server host, and let's change the IP. Update. Now we need another thing. You should know that Zabbix agent in the config file has parameter called server, which basically is IP address or a host name from which Zabbix agent will accept communications. And by default, there won't be IP of the Zabbix server container, so we need to check it. How to do that? First of all, again, we need to find out the IP address of the Zabbix server. So docker ps-a. Pick up the Zabbix server MySQL alpin trunk server. Again, pick the container ID, docker inspect, paste the container ID, and you will find IP address. Then, yeah, I don't have it, so I will install the Midnight Commander. Yum install, it's just easier for me to navigate through the folder. So yum install mc-yes. Done. Go into MC, and we're looking for these files starting with a dot, and we need to change the environment for the agent, and here we have Zabbix server host. Just uncomment this parameter and paste inside the IP address of the Zabbix server, so the agent will accept the connections from this IP address. Save. Close the Midnight Commander. Then, as usual, we need to restart the container. Restart the Zabbix agent to pick up the new config, and docker ps-a. We have a Zabbix agent, docker, container ID, restart, no, docker restart container ID. Done. So agent is restarted. We can go to the front end, enable the host, and let's just wait a couple of seconds. So, by the way, I don't know, I've created this channel like 2 or 3 days ago, trying to post a fresh content about all of the things that I know about the Zabbix, and there's still a lot of things to make video about. Right now I'm just focusing on the installation process, how to configure all this stuff, but for the future, again, I have like a lot of plans how to make videos about the configuration process inside the front end itself, how to configure templates, host groups, assign permissions, actions. We'll definitely make some video about the internal processes of the Zabbix and what task is for each of them, how to troubleshoot some performance issues, how to tune the database for the Zabbix, and that's pretty important that default settings of the database are not enough for the production Zabbix installation. It is absolutely fine for just testing like we're doing right now, but if you're using this in the production, you absolutely must tune the database config file. So if you're working with a MySQL, that would be just a my.cnf, and we'll make some video about that, and also probably some cool features. And I have also the plans to create videos how to monitor things that are not available to be monitored from the box. Probably some network devices, Windows things, Windows Defender, firewall, what else? The CCM, some other tools that are popular on the Microsoft servers, and you won't find a built-in items to pull in some metrics, but that's pretty easy to create it if you know what you're doing. So we'll get to that. And there we go. We have availability green, which means that we are actually collecting the latest data from our Zabbix agent container. Cool. What's next? So we tried the latest build 4.0. You can do this and you can play around, check all the new functionality. Keep in mind that this is beta release and most likely you'll find out some bugs, but still it's a good insight on how it will look like. So how much time will it take for us if now we want to go back to 3.0 again with a Docker? So first of all, I will just go up to our Docker compose line, and I will top the same, but just not up -d, but stop. So I am stopping all the containers. Done. and if I will try to access front end right now, it would obviously not work because all of the containers are stopped. Zabbix is stopped, so it's not working. Let's say we want to start 3.0. How complicated it is. First of all, we need to delete this Zabbix environments folder that keeps the database that was built locally and all of the other related stuff for this 3.4 installation. So we don't need it. Don't worry if you break anything of your Docker installation or something like that. So just delete. Yes, confirm, delete everything. Go back to the CLI and git checkout 3.0. There we go. Switch to a new branch of the Zabbix 3.0, and then we again need the same Docker Compose line with the same file, Docker Compose v3 alpin MySQL latest, and app up -d. Again, launching the containers and detaching them from the CLI. This will take like, I don't know, first of all, again, pulling the latest containers. Almost done. Pull complete, download complete. Extracting. That's the longest process in all of the deployment thing. But should be done in a second. Okay, so yeah, back to previous. A lot of new videos are coming up. Seriously, I don't know. This is like entertaining for me to share my knowledge with you. I really hope that this is helpful, at least for somebody, because I've struggled myself years ago that it's not really easy to find a lot of good documentation about Zabbix. You should definitely read the Zabbix official documentation, because as far as things go about the default stuff, no space left to device. Awesome. So let's try to free up some space. Down. Let's delete everything. You should not see this on your virtual machines if you have appropriate space left. I will try to free something out. df-h. Yeah. Bad. Git checkout trunk. Deleting everything. Okay, pretty sad. I have full virtual machine of other stuff. Should be able to. Let me try to remember user lib. No. Let's Google. I also don't remember everything from my mind. Docker delete containers varlib docker. Yeah, right. Varlib docker. There we have all of the things that were created when we first of all deployed our containers. So I will just remove everything from here. Then we should have some free space. Yes, I will restart a Docker. Done, and then I will try again Docker Compose. Git checkout first. Checkout 3.0. Yeah, we need to be in the Zabbix Docker folder. Git checkout 3.0. Switch it. Then Docker Compose. Up -d. Again, pulling all of the stuff. Once again, if you would have accordingly specified disk space on your virtual machine, not like me by adding just 5 gigs, you would not have all of this issue. It's absolutely fine to switch between branches, between the versions, download multiple containers. No problem at all. I've just run out of the disk space, and we'll have to figure something out for the next video. but we should be up. So let's wait a second. Post your comments, post your questions, some feedback, some stuff that you would like to see in the next videos. I will be just thankful for all of the ideas that you would want to see. Click the subscribe button, click the like button. If you don't want to do that, that's also absolutely fine. I'm not planning to make a big money with all of that, just sharing my experience and entertaining myself after a daily work. So should be up soon. Download. Done. So anyways, if this for us is taking 3, 4, 5 minutes, it's still one command in the CLI. You don't need to type multiple things, change the config files, change the create the database, import a schema, none of that. Just one line, docker compose, and everything pulls automatically, starts automatically. We can go back to our virtual machine, again IP address without any slash. Clean the cache of the browser. I am using Chrome, so this will be Control F5. This will always happen. Let me even log in to show you. This will always happen if you will try Zabbix 3.4 or 4.0. This will look pretty broken. Maybe something else will look broken. No, maybe a bit this place. And after I'll clean my cache, this looks a lot better. So yeah, Zabbix is up and running. Again, we have a host. We have our Zabbix server host. And what's the version? The version is latest 3.0. That's it. We can again, another thing. Sometimes you would want to see log files, and you will not find anything in the var log, Zabbix server.log. You need to type docker ps, find your container. Let's say we're looking for the Zabbix server. Then type docker logs and container ID. There you go. You can see all of the log files of the Zabbix server. Want to connect to the database? Docker ps. Let's check the database IP. Docker inspect. Container ID. We see the IP address, and then just MySQL -h. We need to specify IP address of remote database -u Zabbix -p Zabbix. I hope I'm not wrong with the credentials. And there we go. Show databases. We have a database for the Zabbix server, for the Zabbix proxy, and yeah, you can use Zabbix, select everything from sessions, and you will see some entries from our logins. So that's about it. Hope you like it. Definitely suggest you to play around with the Docker. That's definitely a future for not only testing purposes, but also for actual production developments, because it really simplifies your life. Thank you. Once again, comments, feedback, suggestions, always welcome. We'll try to answer all of them. And see you in the next videos. Thank you and goodbye.